What up, YouTube? It's your boy, Detroit Love, with another video. Today we're going to talk about arcade ownership, because we're all arcade owners now, and we have a little responsibility. Let's get it started. Ooh. Have you ever been to an arcade and put your coin in the machine only for it not to produce a credit? Even if the owner is willing to give you a refund or give you a quarter back or even give you a credit, it's a big hassle. Instead of playing a game, you find yourself waiting for the attendant to become free and take care of you. Speaking of waiting, have you ever come to play a particular game but someone else hogs that game the whole time and you never get to play what you wanted? What if you finally decide to leave and then you realize that there was another game that type on the other side of the arcade, but you never knew it was there and never got to play? Broken games, organization of the games, and reducing wait times are just a few of the challenges of an arcade owner. As a Mame owner, you must think about these things as well. It's your responsibility. So today we're going to take a look at Emulation Station and how using it correctly can eliminate or reduce the level of stress and anxiety that your guests and you have to deal with. So there's some things that I want to share with you with Emulation Stations. It's like Emulation Station 101. It's not going to get super in depth, but just want to give you some tools that can help you. The first thing I want to talk about real quick is just reducing wait times. Now, this is something that most people don't think about. These MAME systems, thousands and thousands of games. And so when people come over to your house, if you have thousands and thousands of games to choose from, believe me, wait times are going to be long. People are going to go through those lists. They're going to be scrolling through those lists. Oh, ooh, look at that. Ooh, look at that. Look at that. And they're going to spend more time looking for games than actually playing games. So I think it's very crucial that you reduce the number of games that are on your list. You can see here at the bottom, it's kind of blurred a little bit, but it's 42 games available on the arcade. Now this thing has, over 3,000 games on it, but I use kid mode to determine what games are going to be a list. So people are coming over, and people are coming over to play games. You can ask people, what are your favorite games? What games do you recall playing as a kid? And you can add those to your list that you already have if any of those are missing. So I'm in kid mode, so it reduces that number. In this case, to 42. So, and the other thing about kid mode, it doesn't allow people to remove items from I'm hitting the Y button to remove items from your favorite list and things like that mess up your settings. When you go to the main menu, the only thing they can change is the settings and restart or shut the thing down. Okay? So when you are in control of your arcade, if you're allowing your guests and family to give you more heartaches and headaches by messing up settings and deleting things, that's on you, because you are the owner. Take responsibility. So in order to get out of kid mode, you have to do an old trick from back in the day. Up, up, down, down, left, right, BA. And now, if I go to the main menu, I have all the options. So I have a video that goes into deep detail about that, but I'm just going to show you when you hit your player one start button, it gives you the main menu. You go to UI settings, and you have these UI modes. Full is what it typically is. There's a kid mode and a kiosk mode. Again, I have a video that goes into detail about that. If you pick kid mode or even kiosk mode, it tells you how to unlock it. So this is something you need to know. Okay, I'm gonna say no in this case. So how do you get games in kid mode? So you saw I have 42 games. So let's find something that's not in my kid mode. I'm just gonna pick something at random. Here, pig scan. All right. So let's say I wanted to add this game to my kit mode. Your coin button, whenever you're selecting when you're highlighting a particular game, if you hit your player one coin button, it brings up this options menu. Now this is normally used to navigate through your games, right? You got a whole bunch of games, you can jump to a particular letter. Excuse me, or a number. Okay? And we'll go into more details with this later, but right now we're just going to talk about adding this to the kit mode. So hit edit this game's metadata and you scroll all the way to the bottom. You have this option for kit mode. It's currently there. Normally it's going to be off. I hit my A button on there, it turns it on, and then I have to save it. Now if you're going to put it in kit mode, most likely you're going to have it as a favorite as well, so we'll add it in both. Go down to save, and now that is saved. So if we put it back into kit mode, that game would be there. But before I do that, I want to, I'm starting the game. Let's exit. One thing about Emulation Station, if I hit this power button and switch the game off, I'm going to lose those changes that I just made. So we have to save it. So what you want to do to save any changes that you make is to go to the main menu. Again, that's the player one start button, and go down to quit and restart Emulation Station. Yes. If you don't do that, you are not going to, I'm not sure why I'm getting that error there. Your changes are not going to save. All right. So we just changed something by putting Pigskin in favorites. So let's just go check and see if Pigskin is in our favorites. So you see Pigskin is there. If we exit out and we go to main menu, go to UI settings, switch this to kit mode, back up, say yes. Now we will have, if I go to all games, we're going to have 43 games. And one of those 43 games is going to be Pigskin. There you go. Okay. So let's get back out. Up, up, down, down, left, right, B, A. Now, in order to do things like that, hitting BA, you need to know what your keys are. It's important to know what your keys are. We've all configured our inputs before, right? Otherwise, they wouldn't be working. But I want to point out a couple of things. So we're going to configure this button over again. All right. So I want you to notice when I pick the buttons. So I'm going to do up, down, left, right, start. Now take a look at start. We know this start button, the physical button, we know where those are. So we can understand which buttons are A, B. But you also need to know what number is assigned. Start button is button 6. Excuse me, goodness. So as you're programming these buttons, you need to write down what these buttons are. Select button is 7. A button is 1. The B button is 2. X is 4. Y is 5. Left shoulder is 3. And right shoulder is 0. So there are 8 buttons. And so let me just go through these other things that I'll need to do while I'm talking. So there's 8 buttons. So when you have your encoder, USB encoder, if you start in the first slot, that's 0. And the number of the number of buttons that you have is going to be in that order. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In this case, ends at 7. So again, I put button 7, which is my coin button, as my high key. So you need to know those buttons. As a owner, that's something you need to know. Okay, and why that is important? Come on, takes a few seconds. It's taking way longer. Okay, all right, it's great. So it's crucial to know what these buttons are. In my case, this is A, B, X, Y, left, and right. Start and coin is on the bottom. So you need to know what those buttons are. But the reason why it's crucial to know what the numbers are, let's take, for instance, let's go find a game here. So we're going to, I'm looking for Galaga, and here's where knowing how to navigate is crucial. So I'm going to hit my coin button, and it brings up the options button again, the options menu again. I'm looking for Galaga. I can jump to the G, hit the A button, and now it jumped my list to G's. That just makes getting to Galaga a lot faster. Again, if I got 3,000 games, scrolling down will take forever. You want to reduce time for you as well as for your people that's playing the games. All right, so I'm going to hit the... So here's an example of why you may need to know what your button assignments are. So for this game, Galaga, by default, you control and then you fire with this button here. As you can see there, I can fire. None of these other buttons work. None of these other buttons work, just this one. But if you look at the way this thing is, that button's real close to the edge. And so your hand is all the way over here trying to push that. For me, it would be more comfortable for this to be the fire button because my hand can be more on the board and not so close. But some people may already know that this button is fire. So we don't want to change that, but we want to add this button. So if we hit the coin button and the the Y button, the X button, A, B, X, Y. So coin button and the X button, it brings up this menu here called the quick menu. On the quick menu, you can see controls is near the bottom. So we can go to controls and hit our A button. If we scroll down, we can see that fire is assigned to button number 2. We know our button 2 is the button that's currently assigned. So this button is fire because this program knows so. So we will tell it that we want button 3, which is this button here, to be the fire. So we find number 3 in the list here, okay? And we just use our left and right, the joystick. I'll push to the right one time. It shows that fire is now assigned. I scroll up and I find save game remap file. There's a save core remap file. That would change it for every game. You don't want to do that. You want to save game remap file. So I hit the A button and it tells me down here that it was successful. So now if I return to my game, I'll just back out with the B button until I get back to the quick menu, hit the A button, and resume with the A button. Now I'm in my game. So we'll just put that button into the buttons into view. And now this button is fire as well. So that's just one example of why you need to know what your button assignments are, the numbers that are assigned to each button. Again, just out of practice, whenever you make any changes, some things will stick, some things won't. Favorites is one of the things that won't stick, but it's always good practice once you're done with your game is to back out into the main menu, hit the main menu button, go down to quit, restart emulation station, yes, just to make